Michigan Early Literacy Collaborative, 2015. This module addresses Common Core Standard RF12C. Readers can listen to a sound and identify if that sound is in the beginning, middle, or end of a one-syllable word with 3 phonemes. In the lesson provided in this module, the learning goal for students is: I can listen to one sound of a word and tell if that sound is at the beginning, middle, or end of a one-syllable word. Phonological awareness provides a strong foundation for future reading success. The ability to identify the placement of a phoneme in a one-syllable word shows that students are well on their way to being readers. This standard addresses a phonological awareness skill. So what is phonological awareness, and how does it relate to reading? According to Dr. Hugh Katz and Tina Williamson in their book, Sounds Abound: Listening, Rhyming, and Reading, beginning readers must gain a conscious awareness of the phonemes in words to learn to use an alphabetic language. This awareness of phonemes generally does not come naturally with spoken language development. In spoken language, speech sounds are produced and understood automatically, below the level of conscious awareness. Most preschool and kindergarten children lack an awareness of the individual phonemes in words. These children do not realize that words can be divided into phonemes. However, many children can divide words into syllables and have an appreciation of the fact that words may rhyme or have similar beginnings and endings. Developing a conscious awareness of phonemes generally requires some explicit instruction. Phonological awareness is an umbrella term that encompasses the ability to hear rhyme, count words and syllables, and listen for onset and rhyme. Phonemic awareness is under this umbrella and specifically addresses listening to individual units of sound or phonemes within a single syllable. RF12C specifically teaches to isolating a phoneme within a single syllable. Some first graders will find this skill challenging. According to Susan Barton of Bright Solutions for Dyslexia, a lack of phonemic awareness is part of the research-based definition of dyslexia. This is the skill we should be testing for in kindergarten and first grade if we want to find the kids who are at the highest risk of reading failure, if you want to prevent it. A large body of research suggests a high level of correlation and causation between a lack of phonemic awareness and future reading struggles. Keith Stanovich says, phonemic awareness is more highly related to learning than intelligence, reading readiness, and listening comprehension. According to G. Reed Lyon, phonemic awareness is the core and causal factor that separates normal readers from disabled readers. Some, in fact most first graders, will be able to quickly pick up the skill of phoneme isolation. But explicit instruction in a gradual release model is imperative for those who find it difficult. The goal of this phonemic awareness lesson is to develop our students' ability to segment the phonemes within a single syllable. Students will need to listen with their ears to one spoken sound within one single syllable word. They will need to think through the sequence of phonemes in that word and identify the phonemes placement of beginning, middle, or end. Teachers will need to value the work of listening to sounds without the addition of print and understand how to teach phonemic awareness skills. This lesson will take approximately 25 minutes. In this lesson, students will need to have a working knowledge of the following vocabulary: beginning, first, middle, end, and last. Have an awareness that words are made up of individual sounds, and have a working knowledge of individual letter sounds and sounds of common digraphs, such as th and sh. Phonological awareness lessons should be practiced frequently each week. This lesson is intended for an intensive small group. However, many activities in this lesson and in the resources are ideal for integrating throughout the day with the whole class as time allows. In this lesson, you will need an anchor chart and blending tools such as a slinky, rubber band, chewing gum, or toy trains that can be attached and pulled apart. I will use a slinky in my examples. You will need small chips or counters and picture cards. The lesson begins with explicit instruction of why we need to learn the skill. You may watch a video to build interest and provide a visual representation of blending with the slinky. You might want to say something like, "Readers, remember how we have been learning that the words we say, see, and write are made up of many little sounds. We have learned how to listen to the middle vowel sound, and we have learned how to blend sounds together. Today we are going to practice listening to a word and then only one sound of that word. We will then tell if that sound is at the beginning, middle, or end of the word. Being able to break a word into parts and understanding the vocabulary beginning, first, middle, end, and last will help us to problem solve tricky words when we are reading and spell words so that others can read them. Remember to offer several reminders of the learning target throughout your lesson. You might say something like, "Readers, today I want to teach you that we can listen to one sound of a word and tell where it fits in the word, beginning, middle, or end." The lesson continues with teacher modeling of the skill. Display a large version of the anchor chart. Read the learning goal together as a group. Remind students of the slinky connection that they may have to segmentation. And review the vocabulary words. You might want to connect this vocabulary to their background knowledge of beginning, first, middle, end, and last by discussing waiting in line, finishing a race, or other familiar topics. You might want to say, "Readers, watch me as I listen to a word. Cap." I am going to start to quietly stretch out the word cap. Cap. Now I'm going to hear just one sound from the word. Ah. It is my job to locate where I say that sound. I think that ah is in the middle sound of the word cap. You can model using the L cone boxes on the anchor chart. As a teacher, you have modeled the strategy for the students. Now it is time to guide the first attempts of the learners. Choose 3 students and ask them to line up at the classroom door, drinking fountain, or other common place to line up. As a class, discuss who is first in line, who is in the middle of the line, and who is last in line. Give the students a large chip, a paper circle, a small paper plate, etc. to hold up. Teacher says a word and one sound from the word. If the teacher gives the middle sound, the middle student holds up their chip. The other students give a thumbs up if they agree with the choice the 3 students have made. After you have practiced this skill, then practice a few words together as a group. The teacher will say a word, and then one sound from the word. Students all say the word and then the sound. Then they decide if they want to whisper the word beginning, middle, or end into their hand, and then toss out the answer together. This activity of whispering the word into their hand offers all of the students time to process the word that was spoken and the phoneme that they have to locate within the word. When they isolate the phoneme, they then need to decide on the correct vocabulary word to whisper into their hand. Give plenty of think time as children process the phonemes and the correct vocabulary words. Use a variety of 3-phoneme single-syllable words, such as shade, shout, leave, rain, and cheap. Remember, during this guided practice, to make note of the students who need extra support and offer them the support as needed so that they can be successful. As a teacher, you have modeled the strategy for the students. Now it is time for the children to practice with a partner. Give students the sound box practice sheet and one chip. Ask students to work together in partnerships and agree on the placement of the chip as they listen to the words and the isolated sounds. Here are some example words that the teacher could choose to use: hat, gum, leg, top, chip, shook, chase, time, rail, soap. Remember to use a variety of examples including short vowels, long vowels, and digraphs. Students do not need to know all of the spelling patterns because we are not yet mapping to print. The link reminds students of why we are learning this skill. You might say something like, "Readers, let's review our learning goal and our anchor chart." Anytime that you are spelling a word, you can stretch the word out and match it to letters that you know. You may quickly model how to listen to sounds in words and match letters or letter chunks to the sounds. You may also quickly show examples of 2-phoneme and 4-phoneme one-syllable words to further extend the lesson. And now it is time for the students to process their learning during a think, pair, share activity. During this activity, children will think about this question: how does listening to a sound and identifying if that sound is in the beginning, middle, or end of a word help you become a better reader, a better speller, and a better writer? They discuss their thinking with a partner and share with the group. Following this lesson, provide an opportunity for students to demonstrate their learning with an exit ticket. The teacher will say a one-syllable, 3-phoneme word. Then the teacher will say one sound from the word. Students will color in a red circle in the correct place, beginning, middle, or end, to represent the placement of the phoneme in the word. Here are several resources to help build background knowledge of the teacher regarding the very important and often misunderstood skill of phonemic awareness. Further resources include links to samples and models, links to engaging sites and games for student practice, and follow-up center or small group activities. And don't forget to practice this skill throughout the day. Here are some ideas to get you started. RF12C. Readers can listen to a sound and identify if that sound is in the beginning, middle, or end of a one-syllable word with 3 phonemes.